What if you had an animal's name for your last name? So then they were like, hey, you should be in animal school because you're an animal, because your last name's an animal's name. What if that happened? Would you be sent to a school for animals? Would everyone assume you're an animal? No, because that's stupid. Animal schools aren't a thing. There's no such thing as a place where animals go to, learn or do math, do things that animals might learn to do in a proper learning environment. And if there was, a human wouldn't be sent there just because their last name is Lyon. That wouldn't happen. And there's definitely no spider monkey in the world that sounds like Tom Kenny. And if there was, would that spider monkey have an obsession with their own butt? Somebody had to ask these thought-provoking questions and say, hey, why not? Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk with Tom. My name's Tom, and today we're talking about My Gym Partner's a Monkey, the story of a boy named Adam who was sent to an animal school because his last name was Lyon. It wasn't even spelled Lion, it was Lyon. That's not even right. How would you assume that person's an animal? It's not even the right spelling. Who's in charge of this school district? Who's the fool making decisions around here? But My Gym Partner's a Monkey, it was a cartoon through and through. It was everything you would expect out of a children's cartoon. From the concept, to the soundtrack, to the characters, to the plots, and especially the humor. Oh my god, the humor. It was like, as a grown person, it's like, what am I even watching? Then of course the storytelling, like a lot of these episodes, like you'd have to be a child to excuse this train of logic going on. That's not the case with every episode. Some episodes, like, it's like, alright, that makes sense. But then at the same time, there are a bunch of mature themes going on that kids aren't gonna get. So it's like you're expecting adults to watch this. It feels like it doesn't really know what it wants to be. Like, as a kid, I never understood the running gag of Principal Pixie Frog being like, oh no, we're gonna get sued. Dog, I didn't know what getting sued was. I was like 10. If that, I don't remember. I was too young to know what being sued was. One time they had an episode where Adam said going ape, and then like Jake just got super offended by the fact that Adam said like someone went ape on him. Like, they made it seem like Adam had just said like the spider monkey version of like a racial slur or something. I mean, what kid's gonna understand that? Like, they took a subtle parallel and just took that even farther in the racism episode of Static Shock. How many times can I reference Static Shock on this platform? As often as I want to. But at the end of the episode, it turns out that going ape is actually a compliment, and Jake was just offended by the fact that Adam said it about someone else. But then again, it doesn't excuse the all lives matter attitude that Adam took with the whole situation, where he's like, you have no right to be offended. You're being unreasonable by being offended by something I said. It's like, homie, what the that's your friend? And you're just gonna be like, you're not allowed to be offended by something I said that offended you? Like, what? And then they also did an episode on cultural appropriation where Adam dressed as a gorilla for a job they had at the car wash, where it's like one of those guys who dresses up in a suit and starts twirling around a sign. And then Windsor, the gorilla, he starts talking about humans have dressed as gorillas to take away jobs from gorillas over time, and how it's like this long-standing tradition of oppression. And I'm like, homie, like, this is a kid's show where you frequently make jokes about a monkey's butt, but then you're gonna pull out like the years of oppression against apes. What are you trying to, who's the audience here? Even if you're trying to teach kids about forms of oppression, like, they aren't gonna get it. Like, that's gonna go over their heads. Like, this is complex stuff. Like, it's not that simple. Like, who's the demographic here? Was it a show for furries? Is this furry propaganda? I don't think so. I think I'm overreacting if I say that. Enough of that though, let's talk about the characters. We had a whole cast of animals depicting all these different kinds of stereotypes. We had a stoner snake, a logical gorilla, a loud ethnic girl toucan, a Mike Tyson shark, a giraffe love interest. A subtle thing that I can appreciate though was they had a class full of like the nerdy, like, advanced kids. And I appreciate the fact that it was all a bunch of species of animals with higher intelligence, like dolphin, squid, pig, and whatever else was in there. I don't remember. I really liked this show when I was younger. I mean, I kind of liked it. It wasn't like my favorite show or anything, but it was a show that I enjoyed. If it was on, I'd be like, oh, cool. That's a cool show. I mean, I'd rather watch like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends or something else, but like, this is fine. In hindsight, though, I think the focus was a little too much on Jake's butt. Just like, there's just like a constant focus on it. It's like every time they walked into the writing room, the director was just like, alright, so what can we do with Jake's butt in this episode? Sir, how often do we need to draw attention to Jake's butt? As often as I want. This is my show. Never forget that. I swear, though, Adam has to be, like, one of the least likable protagonists. I almost call him an antagonist because I dislike him so much. He has to be one of the least likable protagonists in any show ever. Which is actually kind of great because the show kind of relies on the whole, like, awkward, embarrassing the main character type of thing for a source of comedy, which I never liked that. I almost never like that because it's like, if I identify with a character and they're being embarrassed, then it feels awkward for me. But with Adam line, I can totally enjoy it. I'm like, yeah, you deserve it. I don't care what happens to this guy. Just let this loser suffer. He's not even worth a roast video. His life is a roast. His existence in itself is just a roast. You know, I remember that one episode where Adam made like a big deal about the food in the cafeteria. He's like, oh, I can't eat anything in here because it's all animal food. So then they ended up accommodating Adam by replacing everything in the cafeteria, which, you know, if this show actually valued logic, it would just kind of, like, they just completely replaced everything in the cafeteria with just human food, just like the food that Adam asked for, and nothing else. Like, they completely replaced the entire spread for the cafeteria for one student. You know, when I was in school, if I could just have everything that I didn't like in the school cafeteria replaced, dog, a lot of people wouldn't be, like, if anyone could just do that, then there would be nothing there, because, like, nobody would be able to agree on anything. Like, you have a school full of hundreds of people, like, you can't, like, just one person is gonna make you replace everything that you sell in the cafeteria. That's crazy. But yeah, the big thing in that episode was that, the big plot point in that episode was the fact that everyone started eating the human food, and then they got fat, and, like, oh, jeez. Maybe this is a show for furries. Oh, look, the recording stopped as soon as I mentioned furries. I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that again. I did that video already. We don't need to. Thank you for watching Let's Talk with Tom on the Roundtable, but Tom isn't just on the Roundtable. I have my own self-titled personal channel. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have a Snapchat, I have all that good stuff. In fact, I even have a Tumblr. So, if you're interested in any of that, check that out, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!